the previous book that I wrote, The Future Leader, the cover of that book was a lighthouse. And the thing that I always tell leaders when I'm giving talks is that a lighthouse without ships in the water is useless. So it doesn't matter how much you try to build yourself up to become this big, bright, amazing lighthouse. If you're not guiding those around you, then what's the point of being that lighthouse? So absolutely. And the cover of the book that you have in front of you now is somebody climbing a mountain. And that's very purposeful because I acknowledge, and a lot of people would acknowledge and respect the fact that vulnerability is hard. It's not meant to be easy. And there is a framework in the book called the Vulnerability Mountain. And the whole idea is that as you begin to climb the mountain, the first few steps that you take are probably going to be pretty easy. But the higher up the mountain you go, the harder it becomes. But at the same time, the more people you meet on the journey, the more beautiful the vistas become, the farther out you can see, the more clarity you get. And so as a leader, your job is to start climbing that mountain first. And as you climb that vulnerability mountain, those around you are going to say, hey, wait a minute, Jacob's on that mountain. It's okay for me to climb it as well. So you have to lead by example. You can't just go to your employees and say, hey, I need you to be vulnerable today. Because people are going to look at you and they're going to think you're nuts. In fact, one of the stories in the book, and I can't remember which CEO it was, but he shared this story with me how early on in his career, before he was CEO, he worked for a different CEO. And this CEO was a really tough boss, right? He was described as a hard-nosed boss, the type of leader that's willing to kick your teeth in. And so he worked for this type of a CEO. And one day, this hard-nosed boss, he calls everybody into the office and he gathers them around and he starts playing a Bette Midler song, The Wind Beneath My Wings. And the CEO is all of a sudden saying, oh, you guys all mean so much to me and I can't do this without you. And the employees are all looking at each other like this guy just had a stroke. They're like, what's going on here? You're the CEO who comes in screaming at all of us, yelling at all of us, like ready to knock us out. And now today you're showing up talking about we're the wind beneath your wings and that we mean so much to you. And it was so out of character that his employees were like, you know what? We prefer the other guy. We prefer the hard-nosed guy. At least we know where we stand with him. So it goes to show that it's not about just flipping a switch and showing up tomorrow and like hugging everyone and saying how much you mean to me. It is a journey. It is a mountain that you are going to climb. Now, one thing that I want to stress that's important. I mean, hopefully the distinction between vulnerability and leading with vulnerability came across, but there's a little bit of a catch. So one of the concepts in the book is something called the pratfall effect. And this was developed by a psychologist named Elliot Aronson, who actually taught at UC Santa Cruz before I got to school there. And the pratfall effect basically is this idea that if you are competent, like you're good at your job, and you're vulnerable, that vulnerability gives you that added bump. Because people look at you and they say, oh, wow, Jacob's really good at his job. Now he's vulnerable. Oh, he's more human. Now, oh, he's really good at his job. So you get that bump, but you have to be good at your job. Similarly, if you're not good at your job, you're mediocre, and you're vulnerable, that vulnerability can reinforce your mediocrity. So the whole point of this is that there's no substitute for being good at your job, and it means that you need to keep demonstrating that you are trying to create that competence. You are trying to get better. That's a very, very important thing for people to remember. Vulnerability plus leadership. Don't just emphasize the vulnerability piece.